I've given around like 1 hour or so to finish my what I'm going to share with everyone. So probably I will share my screen now. And I would probably love if everyone, or can switch on your camera, so it is much more better if you can see some interaction. So I would probably welcome everyone to switch on your camera. Okay. I hope you can see. Can you see?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Arni Abdul Ghani. I've been with the faculty for the past 19 years as lecturer. And then currently I do have my students. I'm not sure whether my students are here or not. Hopefully they are. All right. But I'm very delighted that I'm given the opportunity to share some of my knowledge. But I think it is better that because I think here everyone here, you are all postgraduate students. So I think probably it will be much more lively if it's going to be like an informal kind of sharing session. So I'll be sharing some of my, of course, there are things that I think much more in theoretical part, but I will probably be sharing more about my own experiences. As a student, I was a student myself. So as a student, and then as well as a supervisor. Okay, so topic given to me by the postgraduate office is about managing supervisors' relationship. I think the moment you enter your postgraduate program, choosing, I'm not sure whether everyone here already have a supervisor or you, I don't know, are you still in part 1? Nevertheless, the moment you enter a postgraduate programs, one of the probably crucial part is actually try to get along with your supervisor, whether the one that you choose yourself or the one that's given to you. Okay, so under any of these circumstances, I think it is important for us to try to form a good relationship with supervisors. Okay. So this is my my topic that I tried to cover for the next 1 hour. Okay, so like I said, I'm not sure if everyone here have already got a supervisor or not yet, but I think it's good to begin with the thing that you probably already done or will do in terms of finding. I call it finding the one. So the one here means the supervisors. Okay, why I call it the one? Because eventually you'll be working with this person for the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Okay, it's going to be a long relationship. That's why I said I'm using the thing that for some of my friends said the topic was quite catchy. It takes two to tango, because I think to work well in a dance, for example, you have to be comparable with your the one that we are referring here. So we'll begin with that. But I'm not going to dwell so much on finding the one, because I think everyone will definitely have some methods of being given some advice on how you're going to source for your supervisor. But let's just go into that at the beginning first, and then we go to types of supervisors. These are something that I find it quite interesting over the internet while I was working for my materials for today. So I found something that when I read, I think, oh, this is nice to be shared with everyone. Okay, so what is a good supervisor? And then we move into postgraduates. This is where you are at this particular moment. So postgraduates, and then I look in, we'll talk a bit about time management, I think, but I think I'll probably say one to speak about time management it probably require one seminar on its own. Okay, but nevertheless, so we touch a bit on time and then a bit on knowledge, meeting ethics, what you can expect from your supervisors, what you should not expect from your supervisors, and then the thing that I don't think everyone here wants to go into this, but you know, what if things go wrong? Okay, so we'll talk about that as well. Okay, so finding the one, like I said, how do you find an expert? How do you find your supervisors? So when we say about finding a supervisor, they even if they want to be many advice, I mean, people will give you advice, you probably be able to get some input as well, or tips on how to find your supervisor. Okay, but I think finding the expert, can he or she supervise? What qualities to look at before you nominate this person as your supervisors, and eventually choosing the one. So I think in a nutshell, a good supervisor should be able to provide you with directions in your study. Okay, they should be able to give you a lot of options, in a sense, not the ones who are going to direct you to what he or she wants to do. And then probably things that you can ask yourself is in terms of expertise. This person working in your research area. So you probably, when you apply for postgraduates, you have in mind what you want to do for your study, what you want to investigate. So you want a very easy, I would say a good way to find is actually to know who are persons that is in your research area, who are experts in your research area. You can definitely, you can see this by reviewing university websites. Okay, probably nowadays we have a lot of this social medias like ResearchGate and whatnot, and then where you can actually go and look for potential supervisors. And then also probably asking about how experienced are these supervisors. Have they supervised many students before? Probably you can also look into their students' history in terms of graduates, and then academic reputation and so on. Indexes is one thing that people go also this time of the, and in this particular time, looking for H index and whatnot, right? Because that determines publication reports. So that determines visibility and not. So if that is what you want, so this is where you can look for. And then availability is very important, I think, when choosing supervisors. Of course, before you nominate them, you don't know whether they will be available or not for you, but it is always to have, I would probably suggest you to do some informal, like an email, a telephone calls, just asking, asking very informal questions like how many students they have, looking at positions. Sometimes this can also determine whether they will be very busy or not. If they're holding certain positions like a dean, for example, so I'm not saying that you cannot nominate them, but they're bound to be some restrictions in time and so on. And eventually you have to choose the one that you think the best for your PhD or master's. All right, so this is what I mentioned just now. So I come through this while researching or doing materials for today's webinar. Might be true, might not be true, but when I read it, I think it is very interesting because actually it helps you to, I think at some point it can help for you to relate what type of supervisors that you are currently having. Interesting, okay, interesting. But when I read it, actually none of it is actually negative, and none of it is actually negative. But everything had, every types of these supervisors has their own interesting points, probably which I think will be suitable when you know how you work. Are you looking at what kind of person are you? In first place, definitely you know your background, your work ethic, your work attitude. Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? Do you work around the clock or do you take time? Do you like to be pressured? Do you like people to challenge you or no? So this probably will help you in that sense. It's a good reading. It's a good reading. For example, if you can take one, like an invisible supervisor is the one who never has time to meet you and doesn't give you much input regarding your thesis. If you like working alone and don't need much guidance, this supervisor is perfect for you. So again, like I said, when I read it through, there is none of this actually very negative in a sense. It just gives you some points like, okay, is my supervisor invisible? Is my supervisor perfectionist? Conservative, probably. Moderate. Okay, so it's a good reading. Not saying that this is right or this is wrong. Again, it goes back into how you work. I think because when we said relationship, it goes both ways, never one way. Okay, both we have to work it out. So I think before selecting a supervisor, or even now you have a supervisor, probably you can go and see, okay, so perfectionist like that. Oh, no wonder my supervisor is like this. Oh, he's a perfectionist. Okay. My supervisor is moderate. He asked me to do, but he never complained. He never pushed me to that path, for example. So good reading. So I have it here. Later, I'll share this slide with postgraduate office, so you can ask for a copy. All right. So what is a good supervisor? This is one of the questions. Okay. Throughout my presentation, you can see this light bulb. So these are my tips because my topic is tips on to manage your supervisor. So these are tips. So all through my presentation today, you will see this bulb. So this is my own tips based on what I have gone through, based on how I supervise my students as well. Okay, so a supervisor, what is a good supervisor? One, they say they should be approachable, okay, and sees you as a research partner rather than an immature student who doesn't want, I would say, who is not going to boss you around so much, okay? Okay, good supervisor constantly challenge your opinion. You give one thing and he challenge you back. Okay, you said, oh, this is what? No, then he'll challenge you. Not 100% blindly accept whatever you're given to him or her. And then the good supervisor will not take credit for your work. Okay, of course, postgraduate programs, you are bound, you need to produce papers. You must do publication. This is requirement for you to graduate. So supervisors are the ones who actually will help you through ensuring that you publish before your time ends. And a good supervisor will not take credit. Definitely you have to mention supervisor's name in your paper relating to the one that you need to submit for graduate purposes. However, he or she shouldn't take a credit 100%. Meaning to say they need to consult you or mention, or mentioning you, or when you write a paper, your name is there, your supervisor's name is there, and so on. Okay, a good supervisor knows how to get funding. Good supervisors will probably help to direct if they know you are you have some kind of finances problems, constraints. So supervisors will probably be the perfect person for you to get help. Giving you ideas what kind of grants to apply. Okay, how to go about in writing to get fund, and so on. So can give you clear directions in your work and realistic expectation. It has to be realistic. Okay, a supervisor, as you go along with the relationship, okay, usually a supervisor will know how, to what extent can he expect from you. Okay, he knows some students might be very ambitious, some are not. Because that is human. We come from different background. we are different people with different attitudes and behaviors, work-wise, life, personal life and whatnot. All right. So whatever it is, a good supervisor should be able to give clear direction and has realistic. He knows to what extent you can expect. He knows to what extent. Okay, whenever that he think that you want to do something, and then whenever the supervisor said, I'm not sure. I don't think that you will be, take time, take 5, try to digest. There might be a reason. Okay, probably after few years with you, he or she knows you that well. All right, a good supervisor has personality and allows you to show your own personality. Okay, knows how to inspire, give encouragement. Throughout PhDs or masters program, they're bound to be hiccups. You feel down one time, you feel so ambitious another time. That is perfectly normal. Okay, I've been through, Dr. Azmin here been through that. Whoever has done masters been through that. Okay, so they're bound to be times when you just don't want to do your work. So supervisors are the ones who should be able to encourage. Okay, should give you some words of wisdom, right? Supervisor must meet their students regularly. Again, this I will touch a little bit later, but it depends on preferences. It depends on how you have established, how you would like your relationship to work. And a good supervisor should be able to give you enough space for exploration. Meaning, for example, you know what you want to do. You know this is your area that you want to investigate or to do your study on. Okay, a good supervisor will not limit you. At first, they will allow you to explore. Okay, read more. Okay, explore. And then whenever they feel that you have swayed a little bit, then he or she is the one who's going to pull you. Okay, that is basically the duty of a supervisor. All right, so postgraduate is an independent work. I think this is very true, especially at PhD level. Master's level, not saying that it's nothing, but at master's level, you still probably have classes, you have other support systems, you have your friends with you during classes. Okay, but PhD is an independent work. It's a lonely journey. It's a lonely journey, but it will be a very interesting and will give you utmost experience in valuing life for when doing PhD. But PhD postgraduates generally is an independent work. Okay, so you know yourself, you know how you work, all right, and then you should be able at first at the very beginning of a relationship, when you form your supervisory committee, especially with your main supervisor, discuss on the preferences. What kind of guidance that you need? Okay, I am like this. I hope you can guide me in this way. Okay. Oh, I'm like this. So I always said that it's good to have this meeting first with your main supervisor. Especially try to lay it out on the table like how you like, Of course, the supervisor will also tell you or will also inform you how he works or how she works. Okay, what responsibility that she has at that particular moment. How well can she be there for you, But at the same time, you will also need to basically discuss, okay, I am like this, I have no idea, for example, or I've been working on this quite a while actually. So I need you to help me more on this part, on that part. Okay, so you need to determine what kind of guidance that you need. And then look also into working structure. That will help you to progress. Okay, working structure in a sense that how well, for one, I think you can always come up with a timeline. I think this is very classic for all postgraduate students. Whenever you want to apply for postgraduate, they will ask you, okay, provide timeline. Okay, this is how basically you imagine how the 3 years will pass. Okay, so work that with your supervisors. Okay, ask him or her how she would help in terms of make sure of ensuring that the timeline can be met. okay, that you can meet on each of these checkpoint of all that 3 years or 5 years. I think 3 years, 3 years. Okay, 3 years, or for master, let's say 1.5 years. Okay, so work on the working structure that will help you progress. What type of feedback you would be most helpful to you? Okay, so this can also be discussed, like what kind, do you need them, do you need the supervisors to write everything for you? Again, as each of the supervisor will have their own style, believe me. I have my own style, my friends styles are different from me, but everyone has their own styles. Okay, but you can always discuss, you can always asking, okay, what feedback. If giving feedback, I would really appreciate if you can point out, not only point out, but giving me some examples or some kind of solution, or propose to me some kind of solutions. Okay, so this is what you need to discuss at the very early stage of your study. Discuss on expectation, discuss on preferences. All right, bear in mind, supervisor is not a teacher. Okay, he or she is not the one who going to point out, okay, you do this, look for this. No, supervisor is not a teacher. All right, so he's not a teacher. He's not going to point out to you or really telling you what are the things that you need to do one after another. Okay, that is one. And also be mindful that supervisor is not your boss. Okay, to whom you are accountable. It's not your boss. Okay, that is one thing. So what is supervisor? Is basically a person who's going to be there to guide and support. That is the two words, to guide and to support. So that must be very much, you need to understand that at the very beginning when you embark on your postgraduate program. Right? Time with your supervisors, like I said, probably if you want really to talk about time, how to manage time one by one, again, like probably need to go into a good time management. There are a lot of this managing your time for, during your study webinars. Okay, but time with your supervisors, this is important. Again, probably during the first meeting, discuss as well on time. Like how well, or how what is the frequency that is acceptable for both of you, your supervisors and you. So the supervisor said, okay, I like to see you every fortnight. I like to see your work every month, once a month. You must check in with me. So these are the things that you need to clarify at the very beginning of your PhD journeys with your supervisors. And then maybe at the very early stage of your study, if you are now in your first semester, probably at the early stage of your study, you probably need more guidance. So here I would suggest you to meet your supervisors regularly. Now I think everything is online. Quite easy in the sense that you can be anywhere and you just can have a virtual, like what we did now, like we are doing now, right? Other than that, how it used to be, usually students will come and see the supervisors, but pick a time, pick a frequency that works for you, especially at the very early stage, where you are still doing a lot of readings, flip up journals, don't know what to look for, you out of your focus. All right, you sometimes you read one thing and then the other thing seems interesting, so you leave this one, you pick that one, and then suddenly you don't know what you're going to do. So at the very early stage, this is, I think, a crucial period where students must be well acquainted with their supervisors. Meet regularly, once a month maybe. If you are postgraduate students, let's say PhD, once a month, check in. All right. Okay, this is where I am now. I'm reading this. I'm not very sure. What do you think? So you need someone to challenge you, because when you read alone, like I said, PhD postgraduate is a lonely journey. Okay, it's an independent work. So of course you're bound to be out of tune at one time. Sway here and there. All right. So it's always good to have person that can keep you on track. So early stage, meet your supervisors regularly. As you progress to second semesters, maybe third semesters before your proposal defense, more frequent communication, because you are now in the midst of preparing this proposal which you will have to present, which will determine whether you are going to proceed or not. So this is crucial. I would say at this particular moment, more frequent communication. If before it's once a month, maybe twice a month. At the very, as you're preparing chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, you give chapter 1, you do your chapter 2. The supervisors return your chapter 1, you look back. You give your chapter 2, you do your chapter 3. Okay, so it has to go on like that so that you are always, the momentum's there. Okay, some may prefer to work independently and check in only as necessary. But again, go back into the few slides back, we said that there are types of supervisors, there are types of, and you know how well you work. All right, I would probably say it's important to keep updated. All right, but I know there are people who like to work independently, who like to do things from first start to finish, chapter 1, then only you go to your supervisors. Okay, check in only necessary. Again, this is important to be discussed, okay, to be agreed upon at the beginning of your relationship with your supervisors. Never allow for supervisor to look for you. I would say this is like pet peeves for all supervisors. Okay, we don't like to be looking for our students. We want you to be looking for us. All right. Okay, of course, once a while we will say hi, how's the progress, but we don't want to do that all the time. I think all supervisors agree with me. Okay. As a student, never, ever, ever allow supervisors to look for you. If you think you've been away, quote unquote, away for far too long, a month, 1.5 month, check in. Okay, just, I mean, nowadays it's very easy. Quick WhatsApp, text messages. Hi, doctor. I'm currently, so that put an ease to the mind of you as well as supervisors. All right. Of course, like I said, in a journey, there are times when you feel like everything is happening for you. At one time, you feel that everything is not happening at all for you. Reading but don't understand, writing but doesn't make sense. Attending seminars just to fill up time, but nothing is gained. So, but whatever it is, always check with your supervisors, update with your every once a month, at least to the very least. To me, that is to the very least, once a month, just a quick phones, a quick WhatsApp text message. Doctor, currently I'm here, I'm quite stuck, doctor. Okay. Right, so usually we don't, when you sit like that, and the supervisors will probably say, start where? If you have anything you want to, so this is what you need as a student. This is what you need to keep you on track. Okay. Agree on turnaround time for feedback. Meaning to say, at the very beginning, probably you said, okay, when you send to your supervisors, they will say, okay, I'll try to give back to you in 2 weeks' time, for example. So is 2 weeks' time acceptable? So that also need to be discussed probably at the very beginning of the relationship with your supervisors. But then, like I said, we are all human beings. Supervisors are human beings. We are not robots. We are not superwomen or superheroes. Okay, there are times where we can keep up. There are times when we cannot. Okay, this is from my own experiences. There are times when I can read a draft from my students within a week. There are times when I just can't do it. Too many words and so on. All right. Can I give a reminder to my supervisor? Yes, you can. Of course, if I'm the supervisor, I would love you to remind me once a while, okay? Because I bound to be, with all the works and and my responsibilities as a lecturer as well. Okay, so acceptable to give reminders in case feedback is late. For example, you always get your feedback within 2 weeks. 3 weeks tops, a month probably. Okay, but then you're not hearing anything until like after a month is over. Can I give a reminder? Yes, you can. Please do. But of course, do it in courtesy way. Okay, hi doctor, or hi prof. I was wondering if you have actually looked into my, I was wondering how doctor, how are you? Hope you are. Those, I think everyone's here know how to be courteous. Okay, so do that. Okay, this is just to and it's just like a reminder, not say reminder so called. It's just like to probably help the supervisors as well. Probably he has read or she has read, just unable to deliver the feedback. All right, so maybe he or she in the midst of doing it. Okay, so I think after a normal cycle of the feedback you always receive, suddenly they're bound to be quite late in that sense. So please do give one quick short message to the supervisors. Okay, whatever the frequency and mode contact you decide on, be sure that it is clear to both yourself and supervisor. That is my tips number 2. Okay, whatever frequency, 2 weeks, 1 month, every week. There are students I know who work with the supervisors and they are on weekly basis. Every other week, every week they have to check in. There are students who do it monthly. Okay, so whatever it is, and the mode of contact either by, I think nowadays we all rely on online so much, but other modes of contact like text messaging, emails, VCs. Okay, once a while do this virtual meeting. I do that with my students as well, who are actually in the midst of writing, collecting data and whatnot. As much as we do texting here and there, but sometimes you want to see the person, right? You want to see the person. Now I think we are much more in a sense that not restricted as before. You can even have a physical meeting with your supervisors. Okay, in terms of condition, okay, this is conditional, unconditional or conditional knowledge. I just give this, like I said, and this is more about sharing session. This is what I think I've been through, a lot of us have been through this. Probably you are in the midst of it. Okay, so for master level, in terms of knowledge, what you can get, what you can anticipate from your supervisors, research project. If it's master level, usually research project will not be very comprehensive in that sense. Usually the supervisor will probably know a lot about your topic. So you can always ask and they will give you direct answer. Okay, no, this, no, but that. Okay, this, I don't think so. You should do this. Okay. And usually you can always ask for advice. They will be able to, because this is bound to be within their research expertise. And and at master's level, not very comprehensive, not comprehensive as compared to PhD. But then at PhD level, usually the research project will take you to the unknown. You know whether you are there now, are you there? You're not there yet. You are deep in that, I'm not sure. So your research project will take you to the unknown. So we say it's the unknown, it's like space is so big. All right, and soon you will probably know better than your supervisors does, because you are the ones doing the readings, you are the ones who's investigating, you are the ones who's formulating. Okay, supervisors is just there to guide and support. Okay, so supervisors will not always have the necessary knowledge. Okay, maybe I would say that generally or fundamental they might know, but probably to the very extent on what is currently you are researching. Okay, you cannot expect supervisor to know everything in the area of what you are doing. Okay, all right. Need to either contact or research from your field expert when facing obstacles. So usually that's why when at PhD level you have a supervisory committee. You have one your main, you have your second, you have your third supervisors. This is the reason why you have a lot of supervisors. Okay, one person definitely will not be able to really pinpoint you what is right and what is wrong. Okay, this is my area, but the thing that you want to do might be falling into another, a spite of another area, something like that. Or probably I myself would not have a very vast knowledge about that. So we need to source from someone who are more, say, expert. Okay, so good supervisor will be able to point out, okay, okay, this one I think I know. This is where you can get it. Probably we can look into this. Let's see if looking into this organization or that university or that person will probably help to shed some lights into what you are facing at the moment. Okay, and shouldn't expect your supervisor to be genie in a bottle. You know what's genie in a bottle? The one that like the movie. Okay, supervisors is not genie in a bottle. You cannot be expecting every single thing from a supervisors. You cannot expect them to know everything. All right, they will have the knowledge, okay, but there are certain things that that's why you and your supervisors will work together. Even supervisors nowadays, I think we learn as well as much as you learn throughout the relationship, throughout the program, throughout your studies. As much as you are learning new things, you're coming out with findings, you're coming out with new results and whatnot. We are also learning at the same time. All right. Okay, and then okay, meeting ethics. This is very important. This is very important in managing relationship. Okay, meeting ethics. Decide on the time. Okay, decide on the time and place in advance. Say you want to meet next month. You wanted to meet next month, or you going to have your supervisory meeting next month. Okay, so you need to plan time in advance, well in advance, because again, look into your supervisors. You know your supervisors by now, how busy he or she. Okay, look into his work schedule probably. Okay, it's no harm asking doctor next month, any day that you are free, well in advance asking. And always send the materials ahead of time, whatever materials that you're going to discuss on. For example, chapter 1, okay, your chapter 1 or first part of your chapter 1, say. So send it well in advance, email, whatever method it is, all right, send it well ahead of time, give ample time for the supervisors to read. So you know the turnaround time by now. You know how frequent that you can anticipate feedback from your supervisor. So if it's 2 weeks or if it's a month, so you know how well in advance that you need to send it. Right? Present your main insights with a short presentation. So during the meeting, what you need to do, don't just sit there and ask and waiting for the supervisors to tell you. Okay? So probably come and then prepare. Even though you have already sent him or her well in advance, always prepare. Okay, doctor, for this, actually, I wanted to look, give some insights, give some short presentation probably. And I think during, especially now, when we have a lot of this online meeting, it's always good to have something to be put or to be shared, like, have it in written, have it in PowerPoint or whatnot. For me, myself, I find it much easier rather than we speak to one another during online meeting. Physical meeting is slightly different, but I like to see interactions. So I like to see the points. So I think it's much easier to digest. Okay, and then develop a template for recording your meetings. Expectation. Always have ways how you're going to record what supervisors are saying or advising. Some students comes with a recorder those days, but nowadays it's very easy. It's just on your phone, so you can record. Always good to record, but always ask for permissions. I think ethically, just ask for permissions at the very beginning. But always good to record, or if you have a template or you are doing it in whatever ways using Excel, whatever. So I think have a good way. What I'm trying to say is have a good way for you to record whatever outcome from the meeting that you have with your supervisors. Okay, have a good way. Pick one, whatever that is working for you. Show options that you are thinking, what you are thinking about. So yes, you have given chapter 1. But of course, even giving chapter 1, you know, they are bound to be question and answers still lingers at the back of your head, right? So shows what, okay, I think this, but I'm not very sure, or although we agreed on this, but what about having it focus on this way? What do you think? So make it a very constructive meetings and then discussions. Okay, challenge one, I mean, as much as he or she challenging you, all right? So give options and asking as well. And then, like I said, especially at PhD level, you are the master of your study. You are the master of your research. You do all the readings, you know better. You by then you know the depth of your understanding. So probably you know better why you should implement this. But of course, justified, always could have good justification, know your limits, know your capabilities, all right, given out how many years that you have to complete, like I said. So, and then know as well your working habits and working attitudes. Okay, and then, oh, masih lama. Okay, what can I expect from my supervisor? Okay, one, generally, basically, you will expect that he or she are the ones going to help you to produce high quality research. Meaning he or she will be the one who is with you throughout the first crucial part of the research, formulating research objective, doing really focus. Oh, this is what I'm going to study. This is what I'm going to measure. Okay, plan the methodology. This is important things in research. People will look into what is your focus, what is your research objective, and then look at your methodology, right? And problem statement and whatnot. So, good supervisor, what you can expect from him or her is that he will help you, help and guide. Okay, like I said, the words here is guide, support, help. Not going to really do the work for you. Okay, so he will help you to structure research question, planning methodology, and whatnot. Give you advice on various issues that arise when you are carrying out research. So as you carry out your research now, whatever stage you are now at preparing proposals. Are you at you're going to defend your research proposal? Or are you already passed and you are collecting data or analyzing or writing? Okay, so during this whole few years, okay, definitely there are bound to be issues and issues. So your supervisors are the one who are going to give you advice on any issues that arise as you go along carrying out your research, like financial problems, probably. Okay, so go for probably helping you to get fund or giving you ideas how to secure fund. All right, and then probably issues with like what we had the past 2 years, pandemic really put a lot of issues into students' work, right? So probably at those times, the supervisor able to guide. Okay, now pandemic. Now we cannot do this face to face. We have to do that. So how are you going to do that? Work with your supervisors. Pick best ways, best time, best methods. Okay, and then when you are unable to reach your goal, like for example, when collecting data, unable to reach this number, so go back to supervisor. What should I do? What else? So supervisor are the one who should be able to give you advice. How to go around, okay? How to go around to mitigate the problem. Providing critical feedback, very much well said, okay? Supervisors should help you learn how to write journals, articles, and grant proposals. We know you have to produce papers, you have to publish before you graduate. So supervisors are the one that will need you to help you, probably giving you an examples like how a paper should be written. All right, what should be put in the paper. Okay, what is the format and whatnot. Giving you some examples. Oh, no harm asking for examples. Your own supervisor's examples, probably his own papers. Okay, so look into that. So supervisor should be able to help you, right? And then connect with some researchers in your field who may be useful to you in your future career as well as now. not only career-wise, but as well as now as you are finishing your study. So probably you need someone, you need some expert, analyzing data, you need some expert. So supervisors may be able to pinpoint, okay, I think this person can help us, this person probably can help you, or you should go to this workshop, you should go to these seminars or webinars and learn. So supervisors should be able to connect you and pinpoint where you can get resource, where you can get some knowledge on how to do your work, or how to help you attending to all these issues. Never compare your supervisor with those of your friends. Every supervisor will have a distinct quality. Never. I think it will definitely result in more heartaching, heartbreak, when you see supervisors. My friend's supervisor are so good. Mine is not so good. You know, never compare. All right. Like I said, go back into the types of supervisors we have gone through just now. Every supervisor, there's no negative. I think there's no negative of supervisors. It's just how you make it work, how you work with your supervisors, how you come into an understanding, a mutual understanding on how to make the relationship works. Okay, never compare. I think it's just heartbreaking. I will never compare my supervisors. Okay, of course they're bound to be. I'm not going to say lack, but you know, different. Okay, but I know, you know, the moment you choose this supervisor, you will keep it in your heart and keep it in your mind that you will make it work. All right. What should I not expect from my supervisor? One, shouldn't expect your supervisor to do work for you. Clearly, this is your work. Should not ask him or her every minor question. Please don't. Nowadays, this is the technology, and not as how we do, or we were those, I think, like 1980s or 1990s. Nowadays, everything is at your fingertips. Minor questions, things that you can resolve yourself, don't ask. Okay, sometimes it gives quite a not so good impression to your supervisors. To the very things that you can Google yourself, you can find from the internet, things that the answers is there, you know. So minor things that you can check the internet, or think a little bit more, then you can get the answer. Those things, don't ask. Don't expect that from the supervisors. Do not expect supervisors to do your writing, obviously. Okay. Do not expect supervisors to look for materials. All right. I think a lot of students have access well enough, good enough access through UIT, if taken UIT as an example. Other than that, I think nowadays there's a lot of this open access, whatnot materials that you can download from the internet. Okay, unless probably you know he or she can get one thing that, I don't know, out of nowhere, just unable to be unable to be retrieved. So probably you can ask. But other than that, do not ask for your supervisors to give you materials like journal articles. But I think a lot of supervisors do that. When we read, because we do papers, we do our, we have grants, we need to publish as well, we need to do our own writing. So as we go through, usually we come across journal articles, and then we think, oh, this one is like what my students are doing. So a lot of this, usually most of the time the supervisors will share. Okay, I found this on the internet as I go through, so I think probably you can read this. Okay, so good supervisors will always do that. All right, but never try not to ask for he or she to look for you, to look for the materials for you. And then do not expect your supervisor to babysit. So I put there babysit. You cannot be expecting the supervisors to be taking care of every single thing, to be reminding you all the time, to be asking where you are, what you're doing, to keep reminding you, hey, this is the mid of the semester already. What happened? You know, what's your progress? Okay, when you propose your study to your supervisor and agree upon. You already draft the timeline, the Gantt chart, how well you're going to work for the next 3 years, for example. Do not wait. You cannot be asking or waiting for a supervisor to ask you. Okay, this is year 1 already. You said 2 papers. Where's the paper? Okay, so do not expect that from a supervisor. Supervisor is not here to babysit you or keep reminding you on how to do your work. All right. Ask for help from your supervisors only when you encounter an issue that you cannot solve yourself in any other way. All right. What if things go wrong? So what if things go wrong? So hopefully none of you are here. None of you are not, in this stage when there's a friction. Okay. Moments of friction between you and your supervisors. I don't want to ask. Probably you are having it, or you were at one point of time having a friction with your supervisors. I would say number 1, it's natural. It is quite natural to have a disagreement over something. Especially, over something is focusing on your study. Yeah, it is quite natural to have disagreement. You want to do this way, but supervisor said no, I don't think so. That is the best way. So and then or to whatever extent that comes into quite a conflict. All right. Every relationship has its ups and downs. That is one thing that we need to bear in mind. I think in our personal life, in our family life, in your work, in your study, your student or your study, they're bound to be ups and downs. Okay. For example, both of you unable to reach a mutual understanding. That's one. Unable to agree on something. All right. Not giving you freedom in your work, that could also leads to a friction. Yeah. You want to do this, you really want to do, but he said, no. I don't care, you do this. Right. So that's not giving you freedom. Doesn't mean you're frequent enough. Could be another friction. Could be one factor that it leads to a misunderstanding, or causing some friction. Like you want to see him or you want to see her, he said, no, I'm busy. You sent him like a few months ago, no feedback, right? You try to talk to her and he's always away. Many things. If I want to give example, there are probably many things. Yeah? But one is doesn't make you frequent enough. You said, for example, you have agreed that you will meet once a month or once in 2 months time, maybe physically. All right. Turnaround time, giving feedback 2 weeks or 1 month, but that never justified. All right. So that could actually lead to friction. That could actually lead to sourness in the relationship. Okay, doesn't provide you guidance needed. You send to him or her and you did not get a return, or you get a return but it was none being commented. Okay, you have more doubts now than ever before. Even before you start your study, now you have more doubts about it. All right, you are lost. So you don't think that he is there for you well enough. All right, so and then too much to handle. So I'm giving you so much. Give work. Your work, your study, and then at the same time there are many things that he wants to do. He wants or she wants you to do for your study as well, part of your study. Going for grants, go for a branch from the grants, and then you have a few other things that you have to replacing him or her. I don't know, in a workshop, or asking you to tag along so much that you think, okay, this has started to become a nuisance. okay, started to become out of control. You think that you are focusing so much on doing that rather than actually spending time doing your work or doing your work that related to your study. So that is too much to handle. First, I would say have an honest conversation with your supervisors. I know this is quite hard. It's not easy, as I mentioned it to you, as I said it. Okay, to have an honest conversation with your supervisor is not something probably even in our own culture. If I'm referring to Malaysian, it's quite hard for us to be open to with our supervisors. But that always be number one tips. Have an honest conversation with your supervisors. Tell your what to say. Tell your concerns. So honest conversation. But what I'm going to say, tell your concerns. Of course, do it in a much proper way. Courtesy is always the way to go. All right, tell your concerns. Okay, I have problems actually with this, you know. Of course, a lot of us will probably, a lot of us, I'm referring to everyone, a human being. We don't like people to pinpoint our weaknesses. We don't like people to tell us you are wrong. But a good relationship, a good supervisors, you know, in order to make it work, it's always good to have an honest conversation. Not to the point that you are degrading the supervisors. Right. Do it in a more courtesy way. Right. Tell your concerns and never ever talk behind your supervisors. That's why I said have an honest conversation. Don't talk behind with your friends, with your colleagues. Why? Because words can go around, especially in an institution like us, in a public university, college. People know one another. Eventually, you don't want to be the one who's going to be, you know, when your supervisor say, you talk something about me behind my back and I heard it from someone else. So that is not a good experience. So what are my options? Okay, what are my options? Seek advice from your student support system. I think there's a lot of support system now available for students. Always available for students. You can get from the association, this postgraduate office, postgraduate office. They are, I think, students council, maybe you can refer to. Okay, and then we always have counselor for students as well. So you can, that is another option, counselor for student support system. Have a heart-to-heart conversation with this support system or with this. Sometimes it is necessary to get a second or third opinion, right? For example, from your support system, like the postgraduate office, the counselor. So have a heart-to-heart conversation. Seek help. Last resort. This is like last resort. Last of the last. Can you change your supervisors? Can you change? Yes, you can. How many times? I'm not sure. That one have to ask from the postgraduate office. But can I change? Yes, you can. That is totally your rights as a student. Okay, but I say that is the last of the last resort, because the moment when you appoint and not nominate, okay, appoint, you got the appointment letter, everything is legal now. It has printed on the paper, it's black and white. The process to do that is quite tedious. In that sense, they have to go to meetings and whatnot. So there are bound to be a lot of things. They might want to hear from you why. They will ask from the supervisor why. So the supervisor will have his or her justification. You will have yours. So I think there is no good in that. But if that is the only way to get you move, because again, what is the goal? Is to achieve what you were supposed to achieve, what you want to achieve. That is your degree. Your masters and your PhDs. Okay, so that is your goal. So if that is the last resort to make sure that you will achieve, probably that could be the option. But like I said, that will be the last resort. Okay, because, and then you have, again, you have to look for supervisors. You have to nominate again. It has to go through meetings. You have to start again from the beginning of what you have, I mean, you have done before, you have done with your previous supervisor, right? But you have to start again the relationship. It might be, you know, rainbow and shine and sun and whatnot, but it can also be as bad or worse. So we never know. So that last resort, can you change? Yes, you can. Okay, yes, you can. The process is there. I think postgraduate will have the process. But again, I think what I'm trying to say is building relationship is not easy, especially with a person's that will help you to get the highest possible academic qualification that you are after. All right. As much as you want it, he or she will want it the same for you. That is bottom line, that is fundamentals. Okay. Bear in mind that it will always take a while to settle into a comfortable relationship. You cannot achieve comfortable relationship within a month or 2 months maybe, or even 1 semester. Probably going to take slightly longer to get used to one another, to get used to him or her, for him and her to get used to you as well. All right. So bear in mind it will take a while. Do not be so judgmental. Don't jump into conclusions very fast at the beginning of your study. Okay. And one more thing, if I can share as well, be upfront about your other aspects of your life, personal life especially, because here I know we have probably mother's father who's doing a study, father's mother, daughters, sons. Okay, you have family commitments, you have work commitments maybe. So always be upfront about that, of especially your personal life with your supervisors. Things that you think along the way might have some effects on your study, even health-wise. If you are undergoing treatments, or if you are having some health problems, it is always good to mention. It's always good to mention, so that it will prepare you and it also will prepare your supervisors to make sure that he or she can try to maneuver how you're going to structure your work, structure the relationship, to ensure that you still get to be there after 5 years or 3 years or 2 years or 1.5 years, and you'll be able to graduate. Okay, so I think that's all from me for the past 1 hour, Dr. Tasmin. I hope I have shared, like I said, a lot of it is actually through what I've been through as well as students, as a supervisors. So I hope I have shared enough tips, okay, with you today. So I also welcome any question or any things you want to get out of your heart. I'm not a counselor, but I can listen definitely. So over to you, Dr. Tasmin. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Datin Arni, for giving such an inspirational and very informational sharing session regarding the tips on how to manage the supervisor. So I hope that the information that has been given by Dr. Arni can be used to improve or to better the relationship between you and your supervisor. So some of the question here is from Anna Patricia. Assalamualaikum, Doctor. I have a question. So this is from my previous experience, how to handle if I have two supervisor. and they have different opinion and knowledge that make me as the student confused on the information given. So what the least I can do?
Okay, Anna Batrisha, thank you for the question. Very classic. I mean, I get this a lot actually. Even I did have some experience supervising students with other supervisors. Okay, if I may, first of all, trust your me. Me myself, I will always trust my me. I mean, we should put a little much, slightly higher weightage on the main supervisors. Okay, but not to say that you can neglect the information given or suggestion given by the second supervisors. That is very important. That's why that is why very important to have a supervisory committee meeting. You know, for example, like this, at the very beginning of the study, of course, you're going to work very closely with your main supervisors first, because he's or she is the one who's going to work with you hand in hand towards formulating the crucial part of your research, you know, focus and everything. Always have a supervisory meeting still at the very early stage of your study. So if you have 1 or 2 or 3 supervisors, have them together. Okay, this is where I think this is an intellectual discussion where supervisors will play their role. Okay, they will not dominate, be dominant of another. Okay, so this is important to have. If you haven't done that, it needs to be done. Okay, that is my practice with my supervisory committee. Okay? The students will work for me for a month, probably 2 months after the first draft of the chapter 1 is ready. Then usually I will call for a supervisory meeting, and then we can hear. At that point, we still have ample time, ample space to tweak here and there, so that we are correctly focused on what we're supposed to do. Okay, so if you ask me, what are the lists that you can do on the information given? Always go back to your main supervisors. That is to me the safest option that you have. Okay, no point of having arguments, or no point of getting so much overthinking about it. All right, know your focus, know your aim. All right, always be truth to what you want to do, and then I think in any circumstances, main supervisors are the ones who play the biggest role. So always go for your main supervisors. Okay, I hope I'm answering the question, Anna.
Okay. Okay, from Tang Wenchi. Co-supervisor in the first, if you only beginning in the journey, maybe it's first semester or second semester, you can have only main supervisor, but along the journey, you must have at least 1 main supervisor and 1 co-supervisor for to be able to complete and defend your viva thesis. Okay. Okay, from SAS, Assalamualaikum, Doctor. If I may ask, I'm currently in master level. My supervisor currently doing PhD, and I have lack of hearing experience from people that experience relationship with their supervisor that currently doing PhD. So maybe Dr. Arni can say something regarding this. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. So the SV is currently doing PhD, right? So you are studying your masters. Your SV is doing his PhD, and lack of hearing experience. Meaning what? Lack of hearing experience from people that experience.
Tak pernah kot orang jadi master, ambil master, lepas tu supervisor pun ambil PhD.
Jarang dengar lah.
Macam tu.
Nah. Okay, alright, okay, understand. So what you want to, maybe Dr. Ani can say something regarding this. Okay. All right. First of all, that's why at the very beginning of your study, when you were being appointed, when you were, I think this is master level, probably you were given the supervisor, right? Rather than you choose, right? I think. Unless it's master by course, by research, right? With master by course, you are given the supervisors. Like I said, at the very beginning, don't just one is okay, maybe not so much, but not so much. You hear a situation where you are doing a study at the same time your SV is also currently in the midst of his or her study. If you ask me personally, they're bound to be pro and cons. Okay, the cons part, right? The negative part probably be, time wise, okay, focus and so on. All right, giving out the condition that supervisors are still doing his study. But on the, I would say, pro side, okay, both of you are really in these studies, how you say it, a time where both of you have goals, right? Probably you can treat that as a way for you to change knowledge, all right, probably change knowledge, probably use that to the advantage. Sometimes, not everything that we want in our life, we get it. That is just how life it is, right? So if you are given and you think you are stuck in a sense that with the supervisor, work to your advantage. Okay, I probably not be able to tell you exactly what you can do, like really giving you points, how you're going to work that to your advantage. But probably you will have one, I think you will have to work slightly extra as compared to your friends, knowing that your supervisors are also studying. Okay. At the same time, being students himself, probably you can, like discuss or having more academic or intellectual discussions over the things, even though it's not in the same area, right? But I mean, both of you are students, both of you study at one point of a time. At one point, you are, he is still a student or she is still a student. So I think use that to your advantage. Learn how to use that to your advantage. And also, like I said, at master's level, of course, you have to depend quite a lot on your supervisors, because you need him to give advice, really pointing out. But now that you know his students, you have to be creative in that sense as well. Okay, you have to be creative in that sense as well. Do not feel left out. Do not, how I say, do not feel like you are, as compared to your friends. One of your friends said, "Hey, don't compare." I think don't compare, because there's perfectly good reason why it is being bestowed upon you to have supervisors who are still studying. But use it to your advantage. I mean, postgraduates, this is a mature relationship. This is a program for mature students. You are mature enough to bring it out, to use it to your advantage. Maybe having that kind of supervisor will make you work harder than your friends. So you have to look for a silver lining somewhere. Okay, Saz, I hope I have given some points on that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Arni, for the answer given to the question. So I think there is no other question from the participant. So if there is no question anymore from the participant, I think that's all the time that we have. So before we end the session, I would like to ask of you to switch on camera to take some photo for this session.
Excuse me, doctor.
Yes, please. Do you
Hello,
have any
excuse
question?
me. Yes, I just posted my
Okay.
question in a chat box, and can you please check? Thank you very much.
Box.
Which one?
We cannot see your question posted in the chat box. Can you ask?
Yes, I have actually the same question as Tang posted above, and I'm asking, is a co-supervisor a must?
Oh, Tasmin will answer that.
So as I have just said, in reality, it depends on you only have to have only one main supervisor, but usually it's very advisable to have co-supervisor, at least one, to help you along the way, because having a co-supervisor and a main supervisor will greatly help you to develop as well as refine your proposal or your thesis in the journey for Viva. So as I said, that it's usually fine when you are just beginning in semester 1, semester 2, or semester 3. But as you go along, so it is very advisable to get maybe one co-supervisor to be included in your journey as your student. Okay.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, smile. Smile, everybody. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. Thank you for.
Thank you, Dr. Tasmin. Thank you,
Thank
postgraduate.
you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's nice.
Thank you so much.
Finally able to see
Thank
some
you.
of you live. All right. So hope to see everyone in other programs. Okay. Bye.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye. Thank you.
Bye. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Okay.